Hey, this is Beth at bitchins.net, and I did a Facebook Live today on my Facebook business page. And I was kind of testing out the screen sharing. I'd never done the screen sharing before on a Facebook Live, but I wanted to give 3 tips for book covers to draw readers, to draw more readers. And I'm redoing this because I wanted to be able to show everything in one video. I accidentally cut off the Facebook Live video at the end. And so I wanted to have it all in one video. And that's why I'm doing it now on Zoom. So 3 tips for your book or ebook covers to draw more readers. The first one is and I'm also going to be sharing the cover for my new fiction book at the end of this so that you can see it. The first tip is to choose a compelling, clear image that you love. Several years ago, one of my clients and now one of my friends wanted to use a specific image for her book cover. And her graphic designer, who is an amazing designer, kept sending her images instead of the one that she had picked, trying to convince her to put those images on one of those images on her book cover. And I said to her, this is your book. You can listen to her. You can listen to her suggestions, her creative ideas, because she's amazing. But really and truly, this is your book. You want to love your book's image for the cover. It's your book. You wrote the book. You want to love it. Now, I do know that when you're traditionally published, you don't have that option as much as when you're an indie publisher, when you're self-publishing, independently publishing. But in the end, she did what I suggested, which was choose your book cover that you love. And so you want to make sure the book cover that you have, the image, is compelling and clear. One of my friends, Judy Levine, took a picture in Alaska, and she winded up putting that gorgeous picture of the snow-covered mountains on her book cover. And you can't really see it, but there's actually a car at the end of that road before the mountains. I didn't notice that until she had told me, but this is called Pursuit of Heaven by Judy Levine. She's a former client of mine and a friend, and she has lived in Alaska, and she took that gorgeous picture and put it on the front cover. You want to make sure if you use your own photo that it is clear, that it's not blurry. So that's Judy, and it is a great book. I highly recommend it. I believe she has that on Amazon. So that's the first tip. Choose an image that you love and make sure it's clear and a compelling image. You can find pictures for your book, images on iStock. That's where I buy most of my images. Lightstock, Shutterstock, Pixabay, or like Judy did, your own picture. So that's the first tip. Number 2, and this comes from the website CrowdSpring, 5 important book cover design tips to help your book stand out. It says, make sure your book cover's title is easy to read. Now, this sounds obvious, right? But you'd be surprised at what people do. You want an easily readable font in the right colors. A curlicue font, while it may look elegant and pretty, might be hard to read, especially in a small image on Amazon. So you want to make sure your font, your type is big enough to read and legible. The title should be the primary focus of your book cover, this website says, and clearly visible, differentiating it from other book titles on the shelf or on Amazon. And you want to make sure that the colors of your book title, make sure it stands out from the background. You don't want to have the same color title as your background. For example, this is my client, Elizabeth Zacharias, and my friend. She wrote this book, Created to Rest. It is a wonderful book. But if she were to use green font, green colors in her title against the green color of the trees, leaves, and this blue-green and the beautiful water, it would be hard to read. So she's got this yellow and this white. Here's white up here, and then her name down at the bottom. This really pops, and it really stands out. Gorgeous image, pretty font, and the color makes it stand out. So you want to make sure it does stand out, that it is legible, even in a thumbnail size on Amazon, on your website, or on a small phone screen. So that's tip number 2. Make sure it is easy to read. Now, don't overcrowd. This is the 3rd tip. Don't overcrowd the cover design. KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. On a page of solid text, it is hard to tell which word is the most important one. They all look the same, and a crowded design will make it look impossible to pick out the most important word or words. And readers are just browsing the covers, but your cover should persuade them to stop, to pause, and read more in your description, and then hopefully buy it. So don't make them work for it. Leave plenty of white space, and white space doesn't mean white. It means you don't have a lot of text around it or a lot of images on that space. And I'm going to show you another example. This is my former client, Dana R. Curry's book, Sacred Wandering. Beautiful cover image of the forest. Reminds you of wandering through the woods. Her name is down here, beautiful font, Growing Your Faith in the Dark. And then the title up here, it really stands out. It's very legible. It's not crowded, plenty of white space. And again, it just doesn't mean white, white picture. It means you don't have a lot of text up here, or, the image isn't all up here and hard to read that. Plenty of white space. It's not overcrowded. It's simple. It's gorgeous. And I believe all of her books are also on Amazon. So all 3 of these books I highly recommend. Elizabeth's too. So those are the 3 tips to love your image and make sure it's compelling and clear. Number 2 is easy to read. Easy to read those titles. Make them easy to read, easy to stand out. They stand out, they pop. And number 3, don't overcrowd the design. Don't make it an overcrowded design. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And I think Dana's is a perfect example of that. It's very simple, but beautiful. It's just gorgeous. So if you went to see my new fiction book now, when I reveal it to you, I'm very excited about it. If you don't like it, you don't have to tell me that. I'd actually prefer you don't. I'm very excited. What happened is one day on my business coach, Diane Cunningham Ellis's Zoom for Inspired Business Academy, she mentioned the video game Tetris. And believe it or not, I'd never heard of it. I'd never played it before. And when I began hearing the idea behind it, I thought, that's a book idea. And so I consulted my former editor and publisher, Hannah Moon, and asked her, could I put Tetris in the title of my book? And she said no. If I did, they could sue me. They could come after me with a cease and desist. But my heart was stirring. And so I asked my husband, Ray, what could I use instead of the title Tetris? And he gave me the title. So I'm using his title. And then our daughter, Leah, just graduated from college with a bachelor's of science degree in graphic design. And she designs book covers and logos and other things. And so she designed the cover for me for this new fiction book. I bought the image at iStock, and then she worked on it and she designed it. And I love it. And I'm just so proud of her. So Leah's website, if you want to find out more about her and graphic design, is leameraydesigns.wordpress.com. That's LEMERAE designs.wordpress.com. And I'll put her website link in the description below on the video. So I'm so excited for her and me. I'm working on it now. I've got over 18,000 words, and I plan to work on it today. And I just wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see. Let me go right here so that you can see it. And this is it. The game blocks of life. Now, like I said, I couldn't use the word Tetris. So Ray thought of that, and I'm going with it. I asked Leah, I bought the image at iStock, the colored blocks that are like the Tetris blocks. And then Leah put the rest of that on there. I also asked her to add a border to it. that was matching the color of that blue block over there that I think looks like a cross. Asked her to match the color as closely as possible and add that border. So that's it. I think it fits all three of those tips. I love it. It's easy to read. It will be easy to read on Amazon. A lot of white space around the title, not a lot of other images or wording. So it's very simple, and yet I think it pops. So I'm so excited about that. I'm going to stop sharing now. But I hope that you've enjoyed these 3 tips, and let me know what you're working on right now for speaking and writing. Remember to get your unique and powerful message out there to share with the world. You have something to say that others need to hear. So this is Beth at betchins.net. Be blessed and have a beautiful day. And please be praying for me as I work on this book, for God's inspiration, Him to inspire my writing and anoint my writing and the discipline for me to get it done. And you will be first to hear about it, and I'll let you know when it's ready. So be blessed, and I will talk to you later. This is Beth at betchins.net.